Otakuology Podcast with Otaku Mike and Jin Graves.
Hey guys, what's up? Jin Graves here with another episode of the Otakuology Podcast. Best podcast in the world. And as always with me, Otaku Mike. Hello? Hello? Is it me you're looking for?
Sorry, I disconnected. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So we're recording?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to start us off?
Already did. So, guys, what we are doing is is kind of trying out the new, which is where you can use it through your phone, and then you can call your friends and pull them into it.
So we're experimenting a little bit, I guess you could say. You know, because the talking still has no fucking internet. Because the talking Mike is poor at the moment, so he can't afford internet.
It's true. This is true. But Otaku Mike still has his mouth, so you know he can recording and blacklist people all he wants.
That's true. The last podcast did get me in some hot water, but I'm okay with that.
I don't really think it got you in the hot water. In my opinion, I think what it did was really have somebody else's true colors come out. And I mean, to not touch on this subject too much, it with the true colors thing, it did kind of show somebody that likes to fib and whatnot. But
anyways, let's get on with this. What are we talking about today, Jen?
Let's get it on. So we're going to talk about the next chapter of Pokemon, chapter 45.
No, we're not. We're talking about how to get into manga.
You're welcome. Yeah, we're talking about how to get into manga for anybody that hasn't been in manga before, and go from there. So, as it's been said a couple times, if you want to get into manga, you just have to write your own, and put yourself into it. No.
Just like the guy from was it Manga Diary of a Porn Star? I forgot what it was called on my head.
Yeah, Diary of a Porn Star.
Diary of a Porn. Diary of a Porn Star. That's what it was. Yeah, totally.
So, let me ask you a question.
What?
Have you seen Wakanda Forever?
No.
Okay, I haven't either yet. But there is a new movie that I want to go see, which is Diary of a Mad Black Woman from Wakanda.
Is that supposed to be a joke?
Yeah, it's a meme that's going around because of it. It's Tyler Perry's Diary of a Mad Black Woman.
I want to see this new movie called Cocaine Bear.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Is that a bear?
Is that really a thing?
It's about a bear who eats cocaine and then kills people because he's high on cocaine.
Oh, God. Well, it's like the joke. The scariest apex predator in the world is a bear after he snorted 90 pounds of cocaine.
Basically, yeah. But let me ask you this. How did you get into manga?
I got into manga. Well, I mean, I didn't know that somebody wrote a manga about me, but I hope it's good.
Okay.
No, I first started reading manga with a Shonen Jump magazine, per se. I didn't really understand it or anything, so I just kind of put it on a back shelf in my closet when I was younger. And then when I finally got to middle school, I had friends that read manga. Oh yeah, this is how you read it, this is how you do it. Da 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 da. And so I got a few and then went back and actually read that thing like a year after I'd gotten it. And that was kind of what started everything off. So
yeah.
Now I have every American printed hardcover version of Shonen Jump that's come out, or the magazine, I guess you would say. Yeah. And then my humongous collection that everybody likes to bring up here and there that know who I am.
You know, you finally been surpassed, and somebody has more manga than you do.
Who?
I think it's Omnibus Collector.
Omnibus Collector has 5,000. I have over 6.
He's getting there. He's
That's
getting
okay.
there.
That's okay. Look at how far I came.
How far do you come? Don't fucking answer that question.
6,000, I guess. It's like a machine gun.
So, did you get into manga? You got into manga like earlier and like teenager, right?
Yeah, I got into manga when I was about 13 or 14.
I didn't get into manga until I was in my 20s.
Right.
So I got into manga. Well, I mean, I read like Battle Angel Alita, but now I thought that was a comic book, not a manga, because manga was so not readily available to me, and I had no idea what manga was until like later on.
Right.
You know, but I got into manga when I was in college. And I believe I've told this story a bunch of times, but I was on my lunch break. I was at this store we used to have called Hastings, and Hastings had a manga section. And I would go there to go look for anime on my lunch break because they would have anime for like super cheap.
Yeah.
And one day I found this glorious manga called Monster Musume. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Oh, this is kind of kinky. I'm going to buy this. And then I've never looked back ever since. I've bought manga.
Right.
Oh, not all the time. I've slowed down quite a bit. But,
Well, so here's a funny thing. So, maybe about 2 months ago, Right Stuff finally fulfilled my last 2 orders that I did with them. And one of them was well over a year old. And the other one was about 8 months old. And so since then, I haven't really gotten a chance to order any more manga or anything. I may start again. So it's like not that big of a thing for me per se, because then you kind of do have to jump back into reading all of it and everything and whatnot. But it was funny getting an email this week from Right Stuff saying, "Hey, your Monster Masume Volume 16 has finally come in. Let's send it to you."
Oh yeah, because 17's coming out.
Yeah,
I think this month.
It was funny that 16 came in, and I was like, so I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm waiting. I got my tracking number and everything, so I'm waiting for it to come in.
You gotta get those monster titties,
Jesus.
It's all about the monster titties.
So, but yeah.
Let me ask.
Which you made me think about this too. This collector and his name being Omnibus. Is everything an omnibus?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
So, yeah.
I think it's Omnibus Collector or it's near mint condition. I can't remember who or what one was. They confuse me sometimes, but I watch both of them.
Oh, okay.
They collect comics and manga, so they're very similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But let me ask you this. What do you think the appeal is to manga nowadays? Like, why has manga risen to the ranks that it is now, or it's, so popular?
Well, I would say two things.
Hmm.
One, less brain power.
Yeah.
Yeah, since you're not having to sit there and actually visualize all of these characters and yourself reading like a regular novel, I think it pulls part of that out of it, so you don't actually have to worry about that part.
Hmm.
And then for two, I feel like it's because people want to get in and read it away instead of watching the anime, because we do have a lot more manga that comes out that does have an actual anime adaptation with it as well. So if you miss something, you can be like, oh, well, I watched the anime episodes for this. Now I can buy that comic and then read the next one that comes out.
Yeah.
So I think that's really the appeal for it, is just less brain power. I know for me, um, like all through high school and whatnot, I did read novels and everything. But then when I got to college, like every novel ended up just seeming like a college book to me. And
Yeah.
so I actually ended up like cutting out a lot of stuff that were more novel based for things that were more learning, like my
Hmm.
spirit guide uh, books or divination or anything else like that, other things that I was interested in. And not really having that cross contamination. There goes a horde of dogs. Not
Yep.
having that, not having
Right
that
there.
cross, yeah, not having the cross contamination though of like, okay, where was I in this novel?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they working on chemistry? Oh wait, no. Now it's reading the manga and it's kind of a cool down thing.
Uh-huh.
So
Let me ask you, because I wrote some bullet points down for this stuff. Do you feel like there is like a barrier of entry to get into manga, or like say, what would stop people from reading manga?
I think things that would stop people from reading manga also has two.
Uh-huh.
For one, being a manga and being a comic, people might think that it's more for like children.
Yeah, no, I agree with that part.
And then number two, I think it's the stigma surrounding manga.
I kind of want to touch on the for kids part, because with manga we do have like Japan is more open when children are younger with their like almost like sexuality, almost a little bit, like they're not like with like like a little bit of fan service here and there and your manga and stuff like that, or how
Right,
like you know exposed they are to it, because it is
right.
grown people writing manga for like 10-year-olds, and you
Some
see
of it, yeah.
Goku's wiener or whatever,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyways, we were saying about like the stigma. You said,
Yeah, the stigma of it, like who actually reads it.
yeah. Who actually reads manga?
Like, are you just asking me that, or like what the stigma is?
Well, like, what's the stigma? Because
The
I have something in my head about it.
the stigma more so is that it's more of things for like teenagers and young adults and things like that. Not
Yeah,
so much for
older
grown,
people.
yeah, grown people. Like, I think once you get past like 24, 25, a lot of people are, you shouldn't really be reading manga anymore.
So you're saying it's just kid stuff?
Kind of, yeah. Or like
Yeah,
college level.
that's kind of like how like we were with like our anime discussion.
Yeah.
But like manga's for everybody. We know this, but like
Well,
this.
and so let me point this out. I had a friend recently ask me if I had anything they could borrow, because they know I have manga and whatnot,
Uh huh.
and they are strictly a novel reader. And I gave them stuff, and they go, it's just not for me or whatever. And I said, but I have better stories, so you could kind of get reading and everything. And they're like, well, it's just not for me, you know, da da da. Which really kind of like, as big of a reader as this person is, because you know, I talk to them on a regular basis. It's my coworker, and she has read like damn near over 500 books this year alone. So, and it just really throws me off on that, because I feel like she doesn't actually think that it's like a real way of reading books.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because she was telling me, oh yeah, I'll blow it off in no time, you know, I'll get it done and all that other jazz.
Yeah.
And it took her like 3 hours to read a volume of manga. And I said, but I thought this was going to be easy. And she was like, well, there was the whole learning curve. And I told her, well, being an avid reader like you are, it would be good for you to actually learn how to read manga, because you're working that muscle to be able to read both ways or upside down or whatever. It makes your brain like ambidextrous.
I have to say, the biggest hurdle for me was the fact that I had to learn how to read backwards.
Right.
Because when I flip-flop, because I had trouble reading as a child and learning how to read as a child and stuff. But the one thing that got me to read when I was a child were comic books. That was the only thing I would really read were comics, you know?
Yeah.
But one thing that really kept me from reading manga was the fact that it's backwards. Like, how does this translate into, like, you know, our language and stuff like that, you know, and how would it translate like in like a brain, you know, when I was like reading, like that was my biggest fear, honestly. Picked up manga. Why I didn't pick up manga for the longest time was the fact where I was like, am I going to understand this? Like reading it. And there are times where I still get crisscrossed, and I have to go back and read an entire page. And I'm like, okay, how does this work up, you know?
And you know, here's the other weird thing about it too. Like, another instance that I feel like you could allude that to is going to a different country and driving a car.
True, yeah.
We're so set up on, hey, you know, this is how it is, so you learn it that way. And something on the flip side, you're almost like, how do I do this again?
Like, what is this? What's going on here? You know, I don't know what's going on, you know.
And like I said, your brain's a muscle, so you kind of have to learn all of it. You have to go, okay, I can write with my left hand. Now I got to learn how to write with my right hand. You know, you have to work it that way. So the other thing, though, that she said isn't actually related, but me and another coworker and my brother and some other people have been talking about starting a D&D game. And I brought it up to her, and she said something the other day that really made me think about manga when she said it. And she said, I can't do it because of the stipulation of what D&D is about. And we're both sitting there looking at her, and I didn't get it, you know, being neurodivergent. And my coworker goes, are you saying because fat white men about 30 play D&D majoritively?
Yeah, I mean, you could say that.
And she couldn't say no.
You could say that stigma kind of does correlate with manga as well.
Exactly.
You know?
So when she said that, that's what I felt.
Yeah, you have all the memes of like the fat guys in their basements with all their love pillows and their manga and stuff like that, you know?
And then it was funny because mine and my coworker's first thing to do was to name off a list of about 20 celebrities to her of who plays D&D that we know that are these very well esteemed people that don't fit into that. It's
Yeah.
oh my god.
No, you're absolutely right. Like once you break down that stigma and break down that wall for like, you know, you can pretty much get into anything. I feel like you could say people are afraid to get into something because they're afraid like of what their peers might think.
Right.
When it comes to manga, and manga definitely has that stigma attached to it, you know, of partially being for just perverted white guys, you know, or whatever, you know, lonely guys, you know.
Right. Well,
Uh,
but there's also some books that I would say are written for people that probably shouldn't read them, even if you're like 25, just because you haven't sorted your life out in the world yet.
yeah.
Like one that I brought up to her was No Longer Human. And
Oh yes.
I said, that one is great. It's a roller coaster. I said, you would love it. But I said, the other thing that makes it more of a darker humored book is the fact of the original book it's based off of. When it was written, the guy committed suicide after he was done with it. You know.
Did you know that got re-released?
Yeah, I got
Like
re-released by Juji Ito.
No, the older version I think got re-released.
Oh yeah,
Like it got reprinted.
I think it was Miura.
Yeah, I kind of want to get both to see how like if they're different or not, you know. Because I've never read.
Yeah. With Juji's, it will be. With the other one, I doubt there will be that much difference.
Yeah.
I want to say the guy's name is Miura.
Yeah, I think I saw Weeb Daddy picked it up in his haul this month. Yeah. But let me ask you this, because we're coming up on the 30-minute mark closely. If somebody came up to you and was like, hey, how can I get into manga? What manga or what would you recommend to them? Suggestions.
Well, first it depends on the age, obviously.
Yeah.
First thing though, I would do is I would hand them 2 different volumes. If it was somebody I knew could handle bigger stuff, it would be a seinen and a josei. And if it was somebody that I knew was younger, it would probably be a battle shonen and a lovey-dovey shoujo.
So stick with like the gender roles in manga. Like,
no, that's why I give them both.
Okay, it's like if you're a boy, you got to read the boys. You know,
that's why I would give them both. You never know if somebody's going to be like, what's that one? My Love Story. If somebody's going to enjoy that, or if they're going to like Naruto. You know, you're not going to be able to put a stipulation on that. You know.
I have to say, my daughter started getting into manga recently, and she has really enjoyed it. Although I have to police what she reads because I can't give her the stuff that I read. So I have to go out and literally find things that are age appropriate for a 9-year-old.
Right?
Like, this is the hardest thing to do because I don't know what really to show her. So I've kind of just stuck with like Kirby and Pokemon are the 2 that I've given her.
Yeah. Well, and the sad thing about that is the really, really younger kid books, they've actually gotten away from kind of.
Yeah. They
just because they don't do as well because they're not over here. Like we talked about, there is the stigma of that. So people don't say, hey, let me pick up cutesy little manga to let my kid read. You know?
Yeah, no, that is definitely true.
But I mean, she could read Yokai Watch, but that's like the only other one I can even think about that fits into that.
Well, that's what I gave her right now. I'm thinking about getting her the Animal Crossing books because she likes Animal Crossing. But she I was like going through my manga, unpacking, and she was like, "Is that Kirby?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's Kirby. Do you want to read it?" And I gave her the first 2 books to read, and she thought they were fucking phenomenal. And I was like, "Yeah, it's fucking Kirby." Like,
Yeah.
Kirby,
Did you have to tell her how to read them?
No, she just started reading it herself.
Okay, she knows the different direction.
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I just handed them to her. I didn't even tell her to read them. So I don't remember if they're like they have read this way type of thing in them.
Yeah.
You know, it has it in the corner or whatever. I don't remember and
Yeah.
stuff. You know, I thought about branching her out and letting her try Sailor Moon if possible, but I wasn't for sure if that was 100% kid friendly because I can't remember what all is in Sailor Moon. So she's just been watching the anime for that one.
Yeah. The manga, I would say probably not right now.
Yeah.
Years from now.
Maybe we'll
Just
see.
just because stigma of the female relationship.
Oh yeah, I mean that's nothing. That's nothing. I don't care about that. You know, I don't think that's a stigma or a sticking point in that aspect.
Yeah.
You know,
but that's one of the things that we had to watch out for also because you don't know if something. So
true. And other people have said stuff. Go listen to our "Boomers Don't Understand Manga" episode.
Right.
In our backlog for that. We talked all about that. You know,
it'll probably be. I bet it'll be reposted Monday.
Probably. Yeah. But yeah, this is a pretty good little conversation we had, you know?
Right.
I think, yeah.
Right. So everybody out there, thanks for listening. Our ball rolling again into our fantastic podcast that we have here. And we will catch you all later. Again, thanks for listening. Bye.
And hope you guys have fun listening, you know. Bye.
Yeah.